George Gamow, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, was a theoretical physicist and cosmologist, notably an early advocate and developer of Lemaitre's Big Bang theory. He discovered a theoretical explanation of alpha decay via quantum tunneling and worked on radioactive decay of the atomic nucleus, star formation, stellar nucleosynthesis, and Big Bang nucleosynthesis, and molecular genetics. This is one of the contributors to Big Bang pseudoscience, a very big contributor. Notice how nothing in here mentions the formation of a planet. If George Gamow knew better, he'd know that stellar evolution is the process of planet formation itself. Gamow wasn't aware of this information. He was a 20th century scientist. He had no idea what actually happens is the stars cool and they die, becoming what are called planets. Meaning we can determine what stars do as they evolve by studying the Earth itself. No additional ad hoc theoreticians are required for this process. Anybody can go outside, pick up a rock, and analyze it. Here's what a birthing, growing galaxy looks like. M84. It's in 4.9 gigahertz, the wavelength of the material coming out. As you'll notice, the material comes out in two very large jets. This is where matter creation happens, inside of birthing galaxies. So George Gamow was unfortunate that he lived in a time when theoreticians had to invent physics without observation. We don't live in that time anymore. We can clearly see that what happens is the galaxy forms matter as it grows, and it makes large arms which will begin spiraling around each other, making what's called a spiral galaxy. Here's Centaurus A. This is a composite of these three different images. You have X-ray at the top, radio frequencies, and the optical spectrum. This is what astronomers see when they look through the telescopes, the ones, like the Hubble or various ground-based telescopes. And this is probably a ground-based telescope as well, but this is an outer space telescope because X-rays, I think, are absorbed by the Earth's atmosphere. So they take these three different images and they combine them to make what is seen here as a birthing galaxy. This is what teenage galaxies look like as they grow their spiral arms and form matter. Matter wasn't created in a Big Bang creation universe as per George Gamow or Lemaitre or the vast majority of theoretical physicists. In other words, cosmologists believe in the Big Bang creationism event. Real scientists in the future are actually starting to wake up to the nonsense of 20th century physics. They're starting to learn that galaxies form matter. I think this was originally hypothesized by Victor Armbartsumian. Victor Armbartsumian was also a Soviet scientist, as was Gamow, but this guy knew what he was actually talking about. I think he was the first guy to hypothesize that matter creation happens inside of galaxies, and he also allowed for one of Halton Arp's papers to be published, even though he didn't agree with intrinsic redshift, but more on that later. I suggest for my listeners to look up Victor Armbartsumian's things and take a lot of it with a grain of salt. As I've been learning, a lot of Soviet scientists were on their own program, or as we like to call in the Marine Corps, OFP. If you want to look that up on Urban Dictionary, go ahead. But these Soviet scientists, they could theorize what they wanted to, and they didn't have to listen to the Americans or to Western society. They could figure things out on their own and see how well they could do things. But anyways, there it all is. Hopefully my listeners can take what I'm saying for what it's worth and make the most of it.